but next year I will be attending The Ohio State University.
National Signing Day. It's a day when top football players from around the country sign a letter of intent to play at their chosen university. But according to the high school sports site Max Preps, New York, despite having the third largest population, only has 25 football players committed to Division I-A schools this year. To put that in perspective, even Hawaii has a higher number of players committed. This is something that Red Penguin Athletics president Chris Bianchi wants to change.
It hasn't been going too great for us the last 20 years. We better start changing some things so we can start catching up to the Joneses.
He started the Gridiron Academy in Rochester last year and is now bringing a new branch of the academy to Syracuse. For Bianchi, a Rochester native, creating an off-season football program in New York is more than simply bringing an existing concept into a new state. It's also an opportunity to change the culture of player development.
We go about the process completely different way. It's personal, it's educational, so we're teaching our families how to go about the process so they understand it.
The Gridiron Academy combines the college prep services of its parent company, Red Penguin, with football practices run by Central New York high school football coaches. In doing so, Bianchi says the academy focuses less on competition and more on educating the athletes.
1, 2, 3 big steps back.
Deshaun Turner, a freshman quarterback at Bishop Ludden High School in Syracuse, has traveled as far as Texas to participate in off-season football programs. Now, he's excited to stay home and be part of a program that emphasizes the student and student-athlete.
I was really surprised to hear about the school part. I didn't know that was part of it. I thought it was really practice, games, just like the other league I'm in. But it was a definite shock, and I'm actually excited because I'm a freshman, but learn it now and you'll be ready for later.
The academy also educates parents about the recruiting process and how to best get involved with it. This is a process that Deshaun Turner's dad, also named Deshaun, says most parents are unfamiliar with.
A lot of parents don't know a lot of things, and we've gone to a couple of workshops, but I'm hoping that the biggest thing I get from this so they can teach us so that we can try to help steer our kids in the right way, and that more kids that get involved in this program, more parents get involved in this program, we can learn something about the recruiting class too, what's going on with the recruiting process too.
It might seem like a no-brainer that coaches from Central New York would want their players to take advantage of the Gridiron Academy's indoor facilities and its educational resources. But while any coach wants a program like the Gridiron Academy to succeed, some see other approaches to player development as more beneficial. C.W. Baker head coach Carl Sanfilippo is optimistic about the Gridiron Academy's ability to develop football players, but he still prefers to personally be in charge of a player's off-season development and recruiting process.
But as far as a form of conditioning and training, I personally think that's up to each individual school. And I think the recruiting part of it is up to the coach. I think it's up to the coach. I mean, it's a frustrating thing to do. The recruiting is hard.
Corcoran High School head coach Tyrone Fisher says the $750 cost of the program is what makes him and his players look elsewhere.
Our kids have a hard time paying $50 for the Syracuse University Football Thud Camp, and we have to fundraise for that for a lot of our student athletes.
Both Coach Fisher and Coach Sanfilippo use Huddle.com as a cheaper alternative for player development. An account on the site costs as little as $800 per year and can be used by all coaches and players.
We put our film on the internet. Once we upload it to the internet on Huddle, our kids can go to Huddle, they get their own login, they can watch their own film, they can now start to make their own cut-ups, their own highlights. The students will send me their film. Now I can email it right to a college coach from the Huddle program, and we don't ever have to exchange the DVDs and stuff like that.
The Gridiron Academy tries to be more affordable by offering several scholarships, but right now, the Academy just doesn't have that much money to give.
And the indoor facility time is very, very expensive. We were in the red last year, and we think that as we grow, as we start getting some more sponsors, that won't be the case.
But any player that can afford to participate in the Academy is getting a secondary outlet for recruiting exposure. Cornell Director of Football Operations, Rhett Taccone, says this exposure is especially important for athletes from smaller schools.
It's always good to keep it in-house first, but these academies, more exposure, I wouldn't want to say in place of, but in addition to, can only benefit them.
There's no question the Gridiron Academy educates, develops, and exposes its players. Whether participation in the academy will lead to more than 25 D1A football commitments next year is a question to which all New Yorkers eagerly await an answer.